The most famous Freudian line, for me anyway, is where it was, ego shall become. Where es was, the ich shall become. In other words, where the unconscious was, the conscious shall become. You will become conscious of your unconscious. Now, what I've been learning is that there isn't such a thing as the unconscious. There's really nothing there. You think you're reaching it there. So for me, the great secret is in the veil that separates the conscious and the unconscious mind. And this veil I have equated with the parakot, the veil that separates the holies from the Holy of Holies in the temple in Jerusalem. And this veil has on it, by the way, two cherubim facing each other. And it's a curtain, it's a veil, it's a middle. And as you know, the Kohen Gadol goes into this Holy of Holies, this cubic, square cubic room, only once a year, and that's on Yom HaKippurim. He enters the unconscious. This Holy of Holies is the unconscious. He enters it, and only he is allowed to enter. And he enters it only once a year, for one day. Of course, I bring this down as Sukkot, the Sukkot, Sukkah, that you enter. But this is a whole other video. How to enter this idea of the ego becoming the id. How the I becomes the it. And what we have here is a long introduction for Judaism. Judaism here has a thing in the Talmudic analysis called a gavra and a hefsa. Something that's a gavra is a person. Something that's a hefsa is an object. So, a person, and it's obvious it's a person, but a bottle, say, would be an object. It would be an it. You don't say, when you're talking about a bottle, you don't say I went, it went overboard. So the real secret is for where the it was, the I shall become. See? You're supposed to delve into the it. You're supposed to be in the it, and how to get to the it. There are two kinds of like oaths and things. It's called a shavua, and it's called a neder. Shavua is on a person, and a neder is on an object. Well, the point is, this is my big point here. I've become an object. I've become an it. The ego has become an it. It's become an object. And how does this occur? This occurs when you become a nazir. A nazir is someone who takes 3 oaths, neders, objects. You see? takes three objects. He eliminates three objects from his world. He takes the neder of not cutting his hair. He takes the neder of not being in the room with the dead. And he takes the neder of not eating grapes. Those three objects. See? Don't hair, grapes, and not to become in a dead room. That becomes a gavra, I've always said. The three neders made me a gavra. No. They make me a hefsa. I am an object. I am no longer a person. It is reigning. It. If you want a concept of how to call sexuality, the Nazir sexuality is it. It's not he, she, or he, she, or they. He's not a he or a she. The Nazir is an it. It. He loses his sense of personage by taking three neders. And this puts him into the unconscious. Puts him into that room. Because there's a strong parallel between the Kohen Gadol and the Nazir. But that's another story. He becomes an object. Everything, he's a receiver. He's not a doer. Man is a doer. An object is a receiver. It has no will of its own. The object has no ratzon. The object has no tanug. No pleasure. It doesn't derive pleasure because it's an object. So it becomes an it. S, which are part of my initials anyway, Edward and Stephen. And he's an object. I'm an object. I'm no longer a man. And this is because underneath consciousness, underneath the veil, there is nothing there. It is reigning.